People often say, where are the intermediate fossils? Show us your intermediate fossils. There are plenty of intermediate fossils, and one of the best examples is whales. The modern whales are up there. Here's a series of fossils back in time. Dorodon about 36 million years ago, Rodhocetus about 47.5 million years, Pakicetus about 48.5 million years. And you can see they form a lovely series of intermediates. As you go from old to young, Pakicetus, Rodhocetus, gradually losing the hind legs to Dorodon, which has almost lost the hind legs completely. Modern whales have completely lost the hind legs. There are some vestigial bones, some remnant bones buried deep inside the body. A lovely series of intermediates getting progressively more and more specialized in living in the sea. If you look at Pakicetus, which is an old fossil whale, you see that the nostril is just about where you'd expect the nostril to be, near the tip of the snout. If we move on 1 million years to Rodhocetus, you see that the nostril has moved backwards on the skull, backwards along the snout. Now if you look at a modern whale, that's a dolphin, a modern dolphin, you see that the nostril is right up near the top of the head, that's the blowhole. The nostril has moved right backwards. Now, a really surprising thing is which animal is the most closely related to modern whales among modern animals. And the answer, astonishingly, is the hippopotamus, which is classified in the even-toed ungulates, the cloven-hoofed animals. So what we now believe is that there was an ancestor which was a cloven-hoofed animal before 55 million years ago. A little bit before that, the ancestor gave rise to other cloven-hoofed animals, and then later than that there was a split between the lineage leading to whales and the lineage leading to modern hippopotamuses. It's molecular evidence as well as fossil evidence that shows that hippos are the most closely related modern animals.
When this video series was being filmed on location at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, the executive producer noticed a discrepancy between museum drawings of Rodhocetus and the fossils. The reconstruction of Rodhocetus had a whale fluke, but there were no fossils of the tail to confirm this. Dr. Phil Gingrich, the scientist responsible for the discovery and reconstruction of Rodhocetus, was questioned how he knew there was a whale fluke on Rodhocetus, since that part of the fossil was missing.
What was the reasoning that the scientists think there was a fluke on Rodhocetus based on the other pieces of anatomy?
Well, I told you we don't have the tail in Rodhocetus. So we don't know for sure whether it had a ball vertebra indicating a fluke or not. So I speculated it might have had a fluke.
Scientist Gingrich also acknowledged that the flippers were drawn on the diagram without these fossils. Now, he does not believe this animal had flippers. Again, his answer was surprising, since the museum diagrams had flippers on Rodhocetus.
Now since then, we've found the forelimbs, the hands, and the front arm, the arms, in other words, of Rodhocetus. And we understand that it doesn't have the kind of arms that can be spread out like flippers are on a whale. And if you don't have flippers, I don't think you can have a fluke tail in really powered swimming. And so I now doubt that Rodhocetus would have had a fluke tail.
Many experts consider whales to be the best fossil evidence for evolution, but are unaware of these discrepancies.
In the early 80s, scientists knew that whales were derived from land mammals and there must be transitional forms, except none of those were known in the fossil record, which was really sad. as time progressed then in the 90s and the early years of this century, more and more intermediate forms were discovered that really fill in all the intermediates that we were hoping for. And right now, whales is one of the best examples of macroevolution documented by fossils.
I was surprised that the skull wasn't more complete. I thought you had this full, because I've always seen the models in the museums of the full skull. How did you figure out what the shape of the skull? Was it based on these bones, or did you have other fossils to go from?
So the shape of the skull is based on the fossils that we have, and so we have the parts that have the eye and the brain case and the back of the snout. We don't have the tip of the snout, which is unfortunate because we don't know where the nasal opening was, therefore. However, we did find the whole lower jaw, so we do know how long that snout was. We don't have a sense for its exact shape. So that's based on related animals. Those related animals all have the nasal opening way in the front, so those related animals would be Pakicetus and Pakicetus. Those have their nasal opening way in the front, so it's likely that Ambulocetus had that too, but we don't know that.